Hello, let me introduce myself. My name is Ananda Noval Rifanza, and I am from Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Yogyakarta. My major is international relationship, and during this IISMA program, I got a chance to study in Lancaster University. So, in Lancaster University, I took three subjects, which is sociological imagination, moral and political philosophy, and also global families and intimacy. At first, I actually heard about ISMA from my senior, where she persuades me to join the program. The first time I hear it, I intend to join it the next time due to many preparation that should I do, like TOEFL for example. But then I changed my mind and struggled to join this first batch of ISMA. So after the seminar about ISMA from my campus, I took the TOEFL test 2 days after that seminar because the date of submission deadline from the campus is quite short and I barely make it in time due to late of the result announcement of the TOEFL test. So after I got selected and proceed to the interview, I do a little bit practice about what may comes out as the questions. And fortunately, I made it through the interview and got selected as one of the awardees. So the most thrilling part is after the acceptance when I want to renew my passport, I just realized that my passport is damaged. So instead of 1 week, I take 3 weeks to create new passport due to my damaged passport. But it turns out well, and other than that, my other preparation went well and smoothly. So when we arrived, we are directed to our quarantine hotel, which for me was in Crown Plaza King's Cross, London. The place is really good. So when we arrived, we are directed to fill out a Google form that allows us to select our food menu for 10-day quarantine. The hotel also allowed us to do exercise in its parking space for around 30 minutes per day. So after finishing quarantine, we strolled around a little bit on the way to the train station and enjoying the view of classic buildings around London. Then we go directly to our host campus, Lancaster University. My first impression of Lancaster is the place is calming, feels like going back to hometown. The campus itself also gives the same vibes like my hometown, as they're also quite balanced between buildings and great scenery of nature. It looks like the Lancaster University maintains the environment of the campus really well in order to keep the students on better mood and vibes. The most noticeable cultural difference here is the people here really loves to walk and use public transportation. There's almost no motorcycle scene in England, and as the pollution intensity is really low, it's really enjoyable to walk in UK. The native people in Lancaster are very welcoming, so there's not much cultural shock that inflicts me. The only problem to me is food, as rice isn't the main food there, and buying foods in restaurants is a bit expensive than cooking by myself, even though more practical. So I usually prefer cooking rather than buying foods on restaurant. The spices used there is also things to notice, as England foods tends to be less spiceful than Asians do. So either you adapt with it or buy in specific restaurant, or yeah, just like me, maybe cook by myself. So I do several things to settle with my courses and classes that I took. First, I choose the subject based on my interests. I choose subjects that still can be related to my major, which is international relation. So I took sociological imagination, global families and intimacy, and moral and political philosophy. The study style between Lancaster Uni and my home university is a bit more different. Whereas my home university, they mix between lecture and discussion session in one session, while in Lancaster University, they separated in two different sessions, with different amount of audience, like the seminar session has less people than the lecture session. The seminar session is used for the discussion, while the lecture is for lecture. Usually my course has 2 lecture session and then 1 seminar session. The lecture session maybe contains with more than 50 or 100 people, but the seminar session is only contains about 12 or 13. Yeah, it's really efficient to do discussions there. There we also obligated to read several initial reading because it's often linked to the topic that will be discussed during the seminar session. They usually provide the question that needed to be answered during the seminar or maybe discussed beforehand. And I also managed to reduce my deadline habits so I can comprehend and cover all the assignment bit well. Actually, there is no mid-exam there, but instead we have assignments, and soon there will be final exam or assignments in the middle of January. I was required to make essays and reviews of a book for my assignments, and it went quite well. Just make sure that we didn't do plagiacy. And then there's not much activity that I do which is specified to introduce Indonesia rather than the Yacht Pledge event. But with my flatmates, we share many things like culture of Indonesia or maybe each country's food recipe and many more. I also joined several activities like ballroom dance, Muay Thai, kickboxing, and fencing. So if I could turn back time, I would like to be more diligent and careful when studying and doing the assignments. And also, I hope I can participate in more activities and competitions there. Because at first I intend to participate in ballroom dance competition, but looks like it's impossible since I haven't prepared enough to join the competition. So I think that's all my story about ISMA. Thank you very much for watching. See you on another occasion. Goodbye.